Cavalito here for GTO Strategy, and today I'm gonna go through a big pot I played on Coin Poker. This was early game in the 215 special tournament on Coin Poker. I'm actually working a bit on my deep stack game. As a tournament player, we have to work on different stack sizes. There are some series around corner, Battle of Malta online, so I'm just gonna go and look if I play this hand well, and also how should both me and my opponent construct our ranges in deep stack 3-bet pots. Our opponent is opening from under gun 1. This is one important thing to note, that some people just don't pay enough attention, but on Coin Poker the tournaments are 7-handed. So if my opponent is opening from under the gun, they're actually opening from under the gun 1, and I have to have the responses accordingly. So on the button with pocket jacks, I would expect to mix 3-bets and flats with this combo. I think that pocket queens are gonna 3-bet almost pure, and then pocket jacks are gonna be like half of the time they 3-bet, half of the time they flat. I decided to 3-bet, and my opponent calls. We go to the ace king jack flop, which is an amazing flop for myself because my opponent is gonna 4-bet pure with pocket kings and aces, and they're also gonna 4-bet ace king, probably almost pure at very high frequency. So I have a very huge both range and nuts advantage here. So I can see bet my entire range, and I don't think I need to pick the very small sizing. I don't think I need to go like B25, bet 25% of the pot. I think that I can bet half of the pot and get away with it because of how strong my range is in this board texture and the amount of money that I want to put in with this strong range. I see bet half pot, they call. And then the turn is the king of diamonds. This card looks worse than it is because as I did c-bet my entire range, when I 3-bet hands like king, queen offsuit, for example, I'm gonna have strong hands here. And I also have all the very, very strong hands, the nut type of hands. And I think the pocket jacks, especially having the jack of hearts, is one of them because I do block king jack of hearts, which is pretty much one of the 2 combos that my opponent has that beat me. So they can only have king jack of clubs now to beat me because they don't have aces, they don't have ace king, and I block the king jack suited combos. So they check, and I bet here with the intention of getting all my stack in. So I bet 75% of the pot. I think that this is the sizing that if I bet the same sizing, I'm gonna go all in by the river, right? It is a geometric sizing here for this pot. And for my surprise and happiness, my opponent jams. I call, and they have the king queen of clubs, and I get the very bad news that they hit the bigger full house by the river. Now let's have a look at GTO strategy to see if my assumptions were correct, if my sizings were correct, and if my opponent should actually play his hand this way on this run out. So let's look at a sim. We are interested in 100 big blinds deep. This was early game in the tournament. They are opening under gun 1. So first thing about the range, I said that pocket queens are probably almost pure 3-betting and pocket jacks are 3-betting half of the time. So I was incorrect. We actually flat more than 3-bet pocket jacks. I don't think this is a very big mistake, like getting the frequencies correct. I think the overall heuristics and strategy are more important. I did 3-bet in this situation, and as I said, they are 4-betting pure with aces and kings, and they are 4-betting high frequency with ace king. So I was correct about that. And then this was the flop. Ace of diamonds, king of spades, jack of spades. And let's just see. The first thing I said that is I can bet my entire range and I can pick like a half potish sizing. And I was correct that we can bet our entire range, but the solver does prefer a smaller sizing. I'm just gonna run with the sizings that actually happen in game. This is interesting to see. So yeah, it was a half pot size and 8 on flop. And the EV doesn't change if you like, so you don't have to be very nitpicky about the sizings. I think the EV is going to be pretty similar, but probably I have to bet less now that I'm betting half of the pot. So yeah, so because I have a lot of like low suited king guys, this is the actual how the actual range looks like, so the frequencies of the combos, and I have some low suited ace x and the kind of stuff. I actually have a lot of hands that don't want to bet half pot. And that's the reason why the solver chooses the 25% pot, but let's just see how the hand was played. And as I said, as a tournament player, we do have to work at a lot of stack sizes, so it's interesting to to see also when we are not correct, because we can adjust our strategies when we are playing this big online series and playing deeper stacks than we are used to. So the turn is the king of diamonds. When in check, we actually keep barreling. I'm just gonna put full again so we can look at our combos and frequencies. And this is interesting because remember when I said that the only hand that they beat us is king jack suited? We are actually only pure betting the pocket jacks that block both of the king jack suited combos. So when we have pocket jacks with hearts and clubs, we have the nuts because they don't have any hand on their range that beats us. This is interesting to see. However, I did choose a bigger sizing than the Silver did. So again, I'm just gonna put my sizing here, which is 75% pot. All right, so we go 75%. Now it even checks more jacks, which is interesting to see. And then my last question is if my opponent was correct to go all in with king queen of clubs, which I think he probably is. No, actually they just call and they jam queen 10, which is a straight, but it's quite vulnerable because the paired board. And they jam pocket jacks themselves. And then they also probably jam ace queen with a spade. I mean, they are just selective with the suits that block myself from having the very strong hands. I think that's pretty much it. I think that's the part that we can learn from this. Sometimes we just look at sim and we don't understand the reasons why everything is happening the way it is. But I just wanted to show you guys a big pot that I played and to see if my assumptions were correct. And yeah, it's nice to have a tool that you can just like tweak the sizes as well and improve your strategy and see how the reaction should be, and not get that bothered that you didn't pick the perfect sizing or you didn't pick the perfect combo. We are humans, we're gonna make a lot of mistakes, but as long as we learn from our mistakes and get better every day, because poker is a very complex game, that's going to be enough and it's going to be good for us. So I hope you guys like this hand, and let me know in the comments what you thought, if you would have played the same, if you would have picked different sizings. Also tell us what you want to see in the next videos. This has been Cavalito for GTO Strategy. I hope you guys liked this video. See you on the next one.